Hello friends, and welcome to the channel where biblical backgrounds matter. We're going through the lineage of Noah this evening from Genesis chapter 10. Now this is the genealogy of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. The name Magog will come up later when we get into Ezekiel, because Magog has to do with Russia and the end times. Verse 3, the sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. The sons of Javan were Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. From these the coastland peoples of the Gentiles were separated into their lands, everyone according to his language, according to their families, into their nations. The sons of Ham were Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. Remember, Canaan was cursed because of Ham's sin. Canaan was the descendant from Ham, and the land of Canaan was later promised to Abraham and to his descendants, and we'll get into that in a few chapters. Verse 7, the sons of Cush were Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Ramah, and Sabteka. And the sons of Ramah were Sheba and Dedan. Cush begot Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. From that land he went to Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Calah, and Rezin. Between Nineveh and Calah, that is the principal city. Nineveh was the capital city of Assyria. And you'll see later that Assyria was used by God to judge the disobedient Israelites. Assyria had taken the Israelites captive later on in the Old Testament. But in this present text, we deal with Nimrod, who is said to have been the defiant one and the originator of the occult. He was said to have been a type of the Antichrist who is to come. Verse 13, Mizraim begat Ladim, Anamim, Lehabim, Naphtuhim, Pathrasim, and Caslahim, from whom came the Philistines and Caphtorim. The Philistines were another set of pagans. They had multiple gods. And then later on, they went into battle against Israel and mocked the one true God, which led to their downfall. And we'll see that in 1 Samuel. Verse 15 of Genesis chapter 10. Canaan begat Sidon his firstborn, and Heth, the Jebusite, the Amorite, and the Girgashite, the Hivite, the Archite, and the Sinite, the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite. Afterward the families of the Canaanites were dispersed, and the border of the Canaanites was from Sidon as you go toward Gerar as far as Gaza. Then as you go toward Sodom, Gomorrah, and Admah, and Zeboim as far as Lasha. These were the sons of Ham, according to their families, according to their languages, in their lands and in their nations. They were all pagan cities which God commanded the Israelites to destroy in order to take over the land of Canaan, because he wanted all pagan idolatry gone. But as we know, and as we'll find out later, Israel fell short and they compromised. Verse 21, and children were born also to Shem, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth, the elder. The sons of Shem were Elam, Asher, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram were Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Uz later on became its own land. And you'll find out later that that was where Job lived. And we'll do some more videos on Job after this one. Genesis 10:24, Arphaxad begat Salah, and Salah begat Eber. To Eber were born two sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. Joktan begat Almadad, Sheleph, Hazarmaveth, Jurah, Hadaram, Azal, Diklah, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan, and their dwelling place was from Mesha as far as you go toward Sephir, the mountain of the east. These were the sons of Shem according to their families, according to their languages, in their lands, according to their nations. These were the families of the sons of Noah, according to their generations, in their nations. And from these nations were divided on the earth after the flood. So you have here a descriptive context. You have the background of the things that took place after the flood and led up to the Tower of Babel, which we'll get into in chapter 11 as we go forward. Genesis chapter 11 and verse 1. Now the whole earth had one language and one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. Then they said to one another, Come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly. They had brick for stone, and they had asphalt for mortar. And they said, Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower whose top is in the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad over the face of the whole earth. But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men had built. And the Lord said, Indeed, the people are one, and they all have one language. And this is what they begin to do. Now nothing that they propose to do will be withheld from them. Come, let us go down, and there confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from there over the face of all the earth, and they ceased building the city. Therefore its name is called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of all the earth. And from there the Lord scattered them abroad and over the face of all the earth. So you have here a context of God's judgment. Just a small little bit of God's judgment. But it is a good example of God's judgment, because God's judgment in this case was to confuse everybody and scatter them and give them their own language so that they couldn't all understand one another. And then later on, when you get into the book of Acts, you'll see that all nations were gathered together again on the day of Pentecost. But the nations were not gathered together again until that moment. Then we get into Shem's descendants. Verses 10 through 26 in Genesis chapter 11. This is the genealogy of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and begot Arphaxad. 2 years after the flood, after he begot Arphaxad, Shem lived 500 years and begot sons and daughters. Arphaxad lived 35 years and begot Salah. After he begot Salah, Arphaxad lived 403 years and begot sons and daughters. Salah lived 30 years and begot Eber. After he begot Eber, Salah lived 403 years and begot sons and daughters. Eber lived 34 years and begat Peleg. After he begat Peleg, Eber lived 430 years and begat sons and daughters. Peleg lived 30 years and begat Ru. After he begat Ru, Peleg lived 209 years and begat sons and daughters. Ru lived 32 years and begat Serug. After he begat Serug, Ru lived 207 years and begat sons and daughters. Serug lived 30 years and begat Nahor. After he begat Nahor, Serug lived 200 years and begat sons and daughters. Nahor lived 29 years and begat Terah. After he begat Terah, Nahor lived 119 years and begat sons and daughters. Now Terah lived 70 years and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Abram was the one that later became Abraham, to whom God gave the promise to make him the father of many nations. But up to now, all you have is paganism, complete depravity, which is why God sent forth a Savior and a Judge. There again, we have a descriptive context. We have the background and the genealogy of everyone from Noah all the way up to Terah and then to Abraham. And that's about it for this lesson. If this video is any help to anybody, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. And remember, biblical backgrounds matter. Thanks very much. God bless you. Have a good rest of the week.